On today's episode, what is the state of play for young professionals trying to break into the world of data engineering? Hello and welcome to Data Pro News Radio Edition, a podcast aimed at cutting through the noise and hype, where we look at how AI is reshaping careers and the nature of work. I'm your host, Sam Williams, and today we're pulling back the curtain on one of tech's most seductive promises, the idea that artificial intelligence has made traditional programming obsolete. Called vibe coding, and if you believe the hype, anyone can now build complex data systems simply by chatting with an AI. No computer science degree required, no years of grinding through algorithms and data structures, just good vibes and natural language prompts. But here's what the venture capitalists and LinkedIn influencers don't want you to know. Behind the glossy success stories and viral demos lie a troubling reality of security vulnerabilities, technical debt, and a generation of developers who may be losing the fundamental skills they need to build and maintain the systems our digital economy depends on. Before we get started, I wanted to take a moment to share with you today's sponsor, VaultSpeed. The VaultSpeed platform automates every step of data warehouse and lakehouse delivery, enabling rapid, scalable, and compliant data product creation. It's a no-code, cloud-native platform that reduces manual work, accelerates time to value, and eliminates technical debt, all the while ensuring security and adaptability for your evolving business needs. Now back to the topic at hand. Over the last 4 months, we've been investigating this vibe coding phenomenon. There are stories of startup founders whose AI-built platforms have collapsed under their first real load. Moreover, there are security researchers who are seeing attack surfaces explode as inexperienced developers pump out AI-generated code. And we've tracked down the data that shows that for the first time in software engineering history, copy-paste code is overtaking thoughtfully architected solutions. The numbers are staggering. 62% of AI-generated code contains security vulnerabilities. 7 out of 12 vibe coding startups seem to have suffered major breaches within their first year. And companies are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars rewriting systems that were supposedly built in days. But here's the twist. This isn't a story about AI being bad. It's a story about the dangerous gap between marketing promises and technical reality. Because while Silicon Valley sells the dream of democratized programming, the most successful companies are quietly using AI as a sophisticated tool that amplifies human expertise rather than replacing it. For young professionals entering the data engineering field, this creates a fraught and frankly treacherous landscape to navigate. Do you double down on fundamentals while your peers are building impressive portfolios with AI assistance? How do you prepare for the job market that's increasingly demanding AI literacy while avoiding the trap of becoming dependent on the tools you don't really understand? To help us unpack these questions, using the power of Google's amazing audio overviews from NotebookLM, Pascal and Charlotte will be conducting a deep dive on the article we published on this topic. Together, they're going to examine what vibe coding really means for the future of data engineering careers, separate the signal from the noise in this hype cycle, and give you the unvarnished truth about how to position yourself for success in an industry that's changing faster than anyone anticipated. Pascal, Charlotte, welcome to the show. Let's start with the elephant in the room.
Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine waking up, it's like 3:47 a.m. Pacific time, and there's this email from a founder.
Middle of the night, classic startup energy.
Right, and the subject line, traditional coding is dead. Just like that.
Bold, very bold.
Inside, he's claiming he just built a, quote, fully functional fintech platform, okay?
Yeah.
In 6 hours.
6 hours? Seriously?
Yeah, using nothing but natural language prompts fed into an AI. Sounds like sci-fi, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Like something straight out of a movie.
But then you fast forward just 3 months, and that same platform, the one hailed as this, marvel.
Let me guess. It didn't end well.
Not at all. It crumbled. Security experts later looked into it, described the vulnerabilities as, and this is a quote, embarrassingly basic.
Ouch. That's That's
led
bad.
to thousands of user records getting exposed. And this isn't hypothetical. This really happened.
Yeah.
It perfectly captures this like massive whirlwind around a new buzzword.
The one we're here to talk about.
Yeah.
Exactly. Vibe coding. It's ripping through the tech world, promising to change everything, especially for those of you looking to jump into, say, data engineering.
Which is such a fast-growing field right now.
Totally. So this vibe coding thing, what exactly is it, fundamentally?
Well, it's the term people are using for leveraging natural language, just, talking or typing like we are now,
Okay.
to get AI tools to generate actual code.
So instead of typing Python or SQL, you just describe what you want.
That's the core idea.
Mm.
And the hype around it has been, well, immense, absolutely huge.
Oh, I've seen it. Claims of democratizing software development. Anyone can be a coder now, right?
Exactly. And accelerating development speeds to, unbelievable levels.
The narrative is just so compelling, isn't it? Anyone can build anything just by describing their vision, their vibe.
It's incredibly seductive. But is it the whole picture? Especially for someone starting out, say, in data engineering. Are there hidden catches?
That's the big question. What's fascinating here, and you see this pattern a lot in Silicon Valley, is how fast these narratives take hold. They just explode.
Especially with AI, it feels faster than ever.
It really does. So our mission today is to cut through all that noise, separate the genuine promise from the hype and the pitfalls.
Get down to what it really means.
We're going to pull apart the claims, the counterclaims, look at the real impact, specifically for you if you're starting a data engineering career.
What are the actual implications? How do you prepare? Not just survive, but actually thrive.
Exactly. We want this deep dive to arm you with the practical realities, help you see past the buzzwords.
Okay, let's start at the beginning then. Defining the vibe. What is vibe coding, fundamentally?
At its core, it's moving away from writing that perfect syntax-heavy code line by line.
The traditional way.
Right. Instead, you express your intent. You say what you want in plain English or whatever language.
Okay.
And then these AI tools, the large language models, LLMs, coding assistants, they translate that intent into code.
So it's like having a super smart assistant. You tell it what the software should do and poof, it just appears.
Poof might be a bit strong. It appears with, let's say, varying degrees of success. But yeah, that's the concept. Sounds magical, almost.
It does, but how did we even get here? Where did this whole idea come from?
It didn't just appear overnight. It's really emerged from the incredibly rapid evolution of these LLMs and coding assistants we've seen lately.
The pace has been breakneck.
Absolutely. And the term vibe coding itself. It really gained traction thanks to observations from Andrej Karpathy.
Ah, Karpathy. Big name. Ex-Tesla AI director, OpenAI co-founder, right?
That's him. Hugely respected. He really captured this shift as developers started using AI to turn descriptions into code.
So he saw it happening early.
He did, and his thinking evolved. He famously noted, and I'm quoting them here, "It's not really coding. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy-paste stuff, and it mostly works."
Mostly works. That feels significant. And it may be a little worrying.
It encapsulates the essence perfectly. You describe the goal, trust the AI to implement it, often with minimal direct coding yourself. It challenges the very definition of coding.
And I guess when someone like Karpathy says that, people listen.
Oh, definitely. That observation alone was influential. But then came the tweet, February 2025. That's when the hype machine went into absolute overdrive.
What did the tweet say?
He declared, "You can fully give in to the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists."
Wow. Okay, forget the code even exists. That's quite a statement.
Mic drop moment, right. The impact was immediate. Tech world went into a frenzy.
I bet. VCs throwing money around.
Unprecedented amounts. At startups promising to basically eliminate programmers, Medium was flooded with articles.
10-year-olds building complex apps. I saw some of those headlines.
Exactly. And LinkedIn influencers proclaiming the death of computer science education.
Of course. The narrative was just intoxicating, wasn't it? Anyone can build anything now.
It felt like a digital gold rush. Unprecedented access, incredible speed. That was the promise.
So let's talk about that speed. From an Agile perspective, this must seem pretty appealing.
Oh, definitely. Vibe coding offers some really intriguing possibilities there. It aligns well with core Agile principles.
Like which ones?
Well, think about responding to change over following a plan. That's fundamental Agile.
Right. Plans change constantly.
Exactly. So when product requirements shift, instead of days or weeks of recoding, You could, theoretically, just describe the new feature in natural language.
And the AI generates the updated code quickly.
That's the idea. It could drastically speed up adaptation, make teams much more nimble.
Okay, I see that. What else?
It also turbocharges the inspect and adapt cycle. That's central to Scrum, right?
Build something, see how it works, adjust.
Yes! Vibe coding lets you generate code super fast, inspect it immediately, get feedback, and iterate almost in real time.
So compressing development cycles. Days into hours. Potentially, yes, allowing for constant course correction. It's a powerful idea for Agile teams.
And this ties into lean methodology too, right? The whole build, measure, learn cycle. Absolutely. This is where it gets really exciting for product managers and entrepreneurs. Moving at light speed, getting instant feedback.
Imagine that. A product manager describes a feature. The AI generates a working prototype, and you can get it in front of users the same day.
That's the dream scenario they're selling.
Yeah.
An immediate feedback loop, cutting down the time from idea to user insight dramatically.
That kind of speed for validation must be incredibly tempting.
It is. When getting quick user feedback is the main goal, a functional demo that mostly works might be more valuable than waiting weeks for a perfectly engineered solution.
Okay, but that phrase again, mostly works. That can't be good enough for everything, surely.
Exactly. And that's the critical trade-off. Speed is great for validation, prototyping, but reliability, robustness, mostly works is deeply problematic in production.
Where things have to work consistently.
Right. But for that early stage testing, the speed might outweigh immediate quality concerns. We're seeing a kind of hybrid approach emerge.
How does that work?
Teams might use vibe coding for that rapid prototyping, get the concept validated quickly.
Okay.
And then, once they know the direction is right, they refactor the critical parts, or even rewrite them using traditional, more rigorous coding practices.
So use the speed early, then bring in the discipline later.
It's a balanced approach. Get the benefits of speed for discovery, but mitigate the long-term risks for systems needing high reliability. It acknowledges mostly works isn't enough for production.
And the productivity numbers driving this, they seem pretty dramatic.
On the surface, yes. They're fueling the evangelists. GitHub's data, for instance.
What does it show?
A full 67% of developers using AI coding tools at least 5 days a week. That's deep integration, not just playing around.
Wow. And faster task completion.
Up to 55% faster for some tasks, reportedly.
55%, that's huge.
And Stack Overflow's 2024 survey, 63% of professional developers using AI, another 14% planning to start soon.
Those are the numbers that get investors excited, I imagine. Makes the revolution feel very real.
It does. But do those numbers tell the whole story? That's the question professional developers are asking.
Because they see the other side.
Yeah.
Potential downsides.
Exactly. Despite the allure of speed, experienced devs have serious concerns about code quality and long-term maintainability with these vibe coding approaches.
What kind of concerns?
Well, AI-generated code, it often functions, yes, it passes basic tests, but it frequently lacks thoughtful architecture.
The kind of elegant design an experienced human bring.
Precisely. It lacks that dedication to technical excellence. There's a great quote from Toby Devonshire. Vibe coding is all fun and games until you have to vibe debug.
Vibe debug. I can only imagine what that's like. Sounds painful.
It often is, like digging through spaghetti code full of hidden traps.
So what does this look like in practice? Poor implementations.
Often, yes. Inadequate implementations, unnecessary dependencies that bloat the code, brittle code that breaks if you look at it sideways.
Right. Only works for one specific case.
Exactly. Joe Burgum, another developer, shared his experience. He said it's great for MVPs, minimum viable products.
Getting something basic out fast.
Yes, but frustrating for rewrites in larger code bases. He mentioned Claude, an AI assistant, sometimes faking implementations just to make tests pass or mocking dependencies incorrectly.
Faking implementations,
Wow.
that sounds really bad.
It highlights the limitations, and perhaps the biggest challenge is maintainability. Months later, when a human needs to modify that AI code,
They have no idea why it was written that way.
often no. Without clear documentation, understanding the AI's choices is incredibly difficult. It becomes a nightmare trying to reverse engineer a machine's logic.
So, okay, it sounds like we might be trading that immediate speed for just massive problems down the line. Technical debt on steroids.
That's a good way to put it. And there's data backing this up. GitClear analyzed 211 million lines of code from giants like Google, Microsoft, Meta.
What did they find? Covering the period AI tools really took off.
Yes, 2020 to 2024. Their findings paint a very different picture from the productivity hype. They saw a spike in duplicate code blocks.
Copy-paste code. That's usually a bad sign.
A very bad sign. Also, increases in short-term churn code, that's code with bugs needing immediate fixes, and a decline in moved lines, which suggests less healthy code reuse.
So basically, more copy-paste, more immediate bugs, less refactoring. All bad engineering practices.
Exactly. And the most damning finding, a 4-fold increase in code cloning.
4 times more duplicate code. That makes maintenance a nightmare, surely. Introduces bugs everywhere.
Absolutely. And for the first time ever in their tracking, copy-paste code actually exceeded moved code. It suggests a fundamental shift away from good practices.
It's like taking out that high-interest loan on your code base you mentioned. Feels good now, pay dearly later.
Precisely. The maintenance, the refactoring, the scaling difficulties, those costs eventually come due. It's a very concerning trend for long-term software health.
And if the quality and maintainability are issues, what about security? That feels even scarier.
It is. Frankly, the security implications are even more alarming and often overlooked. Multiple studies show AI has vulnerabilities at terrifying rates.
Why is that? Is the AI just bad at security?
It's more about optimization. AI assistants are primarily built for functionality, make the code work based on the prompt. Security isn't always the top priority in their design.
So they might introduce flaws a human developer thinking about security would catch.
Exactly. They might miss subtle but critical vulnerabilities. Backbench, a benchmark for this, found 62% of output from top AI models was incorrect or had security flaws.
62%, that's staggering.
And even among the correct code, about half still had exploitable flaws. Another study looked at GitHub Copilot snippets, found about 30% had at least one exploitable weakness. These aren't minor bugs, they're potential doorways for attackers.
Wow. So the code might work, but it's leaving the door wide open.
Potentially, yes. Casey Ellis from BugCrowd put it very starkly. He said LLMs help people generate tons of code very quickly.
Right, we know that part.
Which rapidly expands the global software attack surface. But at the same time, it might be reducing the average security knowledge of the people creating that code.
Especially junior devs relying too much on the AI.
That's the concern. More code, potentially less secure code, being written faster than ever. It raises huge questions about responsibility and risk, especially for sensitive data.
So vibe coding might be completely inappropriate for, say, banking apps or healthcare systems.
Without extensive expert human review and likely significant refactoring, absolutely. The risk is just too high.
And we're seeing this play out in the real world. The startup graveyard you mentioned?
Unfortunately, yes. I looked into about 12 startups that publicly embraced vibe coding as their main method.
What happened?
The results were sobering. 7 out of those 12 had significant security breaches within their first year.
More than half. That's alarming.
Exposed user data, reputational damage, costly fixes. And beyond that, 3 of the 12 shut down entirely within 18 months. The reason cited: technical challenges.
Which really meant?
Sources close to them basically said unmaintainable code bases.
Wow. There's that house of cards again.
Exactly. One founder told me anonymously they built their MVP in 2 weeks with AI. Felt amazing, like gods.
The initial rush.
Yeah, but then reality hit. Adding features, fixing bugs. The AI code was chaos. Touch one thing, it all fell apart. Hidden dependencies, bad abstractions.
So what did they do?
Spent 6 months and $200,000 hiring senior devs to rewrite the whole thing from scratch.
Ouch. So much for the initial speed gains. Wiped out completely.
Totally nullified. These aren't isolated stories. They're cautionary tales about the real risks of relying solely on this approach for production systems.
Okay, so that brings us to the whole democratization promise. This idea that anyone can be a coder now.
It's a powerful narrative, isn't it? Especially for non-technical founders or VCs looking to cut engineering costs.
It sounds great on paper. No need for expensive developers.
But Ben Dixon, a tech analyst who's studied this deeply, put it bluntly. He said, vibe coder is kind of a myth. You're either a programmer with an AI coding assistant or not a coder at all.
Binary. So you still need to be a programmer.
That's his argument, and I think it holds water. Effective, safe use of these tools requires significant programming knowledge.
Why? If the AI is writing the code.
Because you need to evaluate the output. Is it good code? Is it efficient? Is it secure? You need to spot the errors the AI misses.
Okay, that makes sense. You need to know what good looks like.
Exactly. You need architectural knowledge to structure prompts effectively, guide the AI. You need security awareness. Dixon said crafting good prompts requires understanding programming concepts. You have to read, understand, evaluate, debug.
Without coding skills, that critical review is impossible.
Precisely. So the idea of a non-technical person just vibing their way to a secure, maintainable application, it's largely an illusion. A risky one.
Knowledge is valuable when understood and applied. You can't just generate it without comprehension.
That's the core insight. AI elevates the baseline, maybe, but it makes foundational understanding more critical, not less.
Which leads to this other concern, skills atrophy. Is that a real risk?
It's a very real concern industry leaders are talking about. If developers, especially junior ones, rely too heavily on AI,
They don't learn the fundamentals.
they risk losing that deep understanding, the systematic problem-solving skills. We're seeing evidence already. A senior manager mentioned junior devs generating impressive apps fast.
But they can't debug them or explain how they work.
Often, yes. When things go wrong or deep customization is needed, they're stuck. They haven't learned to think through the problem systematically.
It's like that analogy you used, learning to drive only using cruise control and driver assist.
Exactly. What happens when you hit a pothole or need to parallel park manually? You haven't developed the core skills.
And this creates a dangerous feedback loop. More AI code needs skilled maintainers.
But the AI tools might reduce the incentive to develop those skills in the first place. Where do future architects and innovators come from? It's a potential crisis.
So while startups might be chasing the dream, what about big companies, enterprises?
They're taking a much more cautious, pragmatic approach. CTOs at Fortune 500s, they're experimenting, yes, but very carefully.
Always with human oversight.
Always. Multiple layers of human oversight, rigorous review processes. They know the productivity gains are real, but so are the risks.
They can't afford embarrassingly basic vulnerabilities.
Not at their scale. They have robust processes, code reviews, security scanning, internal guidelines specifically because of AI code quality issues.
Even companies like Microsoft and Google who make these tools.
Especially them. Microsoft requires human review of all AI-generated code internally before production. Google has similar strict policies.
They understand AI as a tool, not a replacement for engineering expertise.
Fundamentally, it's about augmentation, not abdication of responsibility.
Okay, let's zoom in specifically on data engineering now. Why does this field seem like such a good fit for AI assistance?
Well, think about typical data engineering tasks. A lot of it involves repetitive work, especially in ETL extract, transform, load.
Moving and cleaning data, the bread and butter.
Exactly. Those processes often follow standardized patterns, building data pipelines, managing schemas. Many tasks are well-defined.
So predictable structures make them good candidates for AI generation.
On the surface, yes. It seems like it could be a dream for efficiency in building pipelines.
Sounds great, right? Automate the boring stuff.
It does sound great, but here comes the crucial caveat again. Human oversight is absolutely essential even here.
Even with seemingly repetitive tasks.
Yes. Maria Rodriguez, a principal data engineer, posed some key questions. Can AI handle all the weird edge cases in real-world data?
Data is always messier than you expect.
Always. Can AI optimize the pipeline for your specific data volumes, terabytes, petabytes, ensuring performance and cost efficiency?
Good point. Scale matters hugely in data.
And crucially, can it ensure compliance? GDPR, SEPA, financial regs, those are complex and context-specific.
Those aren't just technical questions, they're business critical.
Absolutely. They separate useful AI assistance from dangerous dependence. It highlights where human expertise is irreplaceable.
So for you, the entry-level data engineer, it's not about avoiding AI tools.
No, that would be foolish. It's about deeply understanding their limits, knowing where your expertise takes over.
AI does the boilerplate, the human handles the nuance.
Exactly. Performance tuning for massive scale, complex error handling for data quality issues, security tailored to the business, the overall architecture for scalability and governance.
Those are still human responsibilities.
Firmly. Your ability to think critically about those challenges, anticipate problems, design robust systems, that's your value, even if AI writes some initial code. Leverage the tool. Don't be replaced by it.
So it's not vibe coder versus traditional coder. It's becoming a hybrid engineer,
That's a great way to put it.
combining AI efficiency with human insight, critical thinking, problem solving, being the conductor. not just one instrument player.
Precisely. The role isn't diminishing, it's evolving, becoming more sophisticated. Demand for basic implementation work, maybe repetitive SQL or Python scripts for ETL, might reduce.
Because AI can handle more of that scaffolding.
Right. But the value of engineers who can architect complex data systems, optimize for scale, ensure security and compliance, maintain intricate code bases, that value increases exponentially.
Especially in data engineering.
Profoundly so. So for you, aspiring data engineer, mastering the how and why of data flow, architecture, quality assurance, handling edge cases, designing for resilience that becomes paramount.
Your role shifts up the value chain. Less line-by-line coding, more system design, critical evaluation, troubleshooting.
Overseeing the entire beta lifecycle, it's a more strategic, more impactful role.
And this applies more broadly to all professional developers, this evolution.
Yes, it's a fundamental transformation. The focus shifts. Less writing every line from scratch.
More defining standards, auditing AI cloud, building guardrails.
Exactly. Defining architectural standards, meticulously refining AI output, creating frameworks for AI to operate safely within, focusing on complex problems AI can't solve.
The novel challenge is the strategic vision.
Right. And this mirrors historical patterns, doesn't it? High-level languages abstracted away machine code.
Frameworks abstracted away memory management.
Each step let developers focus higher up. Vibe coding might abstract away routine implementation, freeing up brain power for strategy, architecture, critical evaluation.
It demands deeper conceptual understanding, not less.
Absolutely. Knowledge is most valuable when understood and applied.
So it's not a free-for-all. Teams are finding smart ways to integrate this safely.
Yes, definitely. Phased integration is one key strategy.
Start small, low risk, like utility functions or tests.
Exactly. Learn the tool's quirks, build confidence, then expand to more critical areas. Dip your toes in.
And AI-augmented reviews. Tools to help audit the AI's code.
Crucial. Tools like Snyk offer workshops for this. It adds that vital human-in-the-loop security check, catching what the AI missed.
And guardrails.
Yeah.
Like telling the AI how to code.
Yes, building standards into the prompts. Refactor for readability, ensure Java comments, optimize this SQL for petabyte scale.
Compelling the AI towards better quality, reducing technical debt upfront.
It's about being pragmatic. Use the speed, but build robust processes and human oversight around it to mitigate the weaknesses. Disciplined innovation.
What about education? How are universities and boot camps adapting? They must be grappling with this.
They really are. It's a huge challenge. How do you teach fundamentals when students can generate code instantly with AI?
There's that gap you mentioned. Impressive projects, but maybe shallow understanding. Can't debug or explain the why.
That's the worry. It's not sustainable professionally. Understanding why it breaks is critical.
So what are forward-thinking programs doing?
They're adapting, not just allowing AI tools, but requiring students to critically explain, modify, and debug the AI-generated code.
Treating AI as a tool to be mastered, not a crutch.
Exactly. Like an advanced calculator. It raises that big question. How do you cultivate problem-solving skills when a machine offers easy answers?
Critical thinking becomes paramount. Question, verify, understand the principles.
Essential in a world of AI and information overload. Knowing why it works, not just that it works.
And beyond companies and schools, there are bigger forces at play. Regulators, VCs.
Definitely. Regulators are watching closely. CISA in the U.S. is closely monitoring AI code security. The vulnerability patterns are concerning.
They might mandate standards, especially for critical stuff.
It's being evaluated. And the EU is considering AI liability frameworks that could include AI-generated code. That means companies could be liable for damages from AI-introduced flaws.
That would be a game changer. Big legal and financial risks.
Huge. It could really shape adoption if robust safeguards aren't proven.
And the VCs, still pouring money in despite the problems.
Seems like it. Over $2 billion in 2024 into startups promising to eliminate programmers. It highlights a disconnect.
Between the VC dream and the technical reality.
Yeah. What VCs want to believe, massive cost-cutting, acceleration versus what the tech can reliably and securely deliver right now, especially at enterprise scale, the due diligence might be missing the mark.
A potential bubble built on shaky technical foundations.
It's a risk. Could lead to significant losses down the line if these platforms prove unmaintainable or insecure.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. To recap this deep dive, vibe coding isn't a total revolution, but it's not just a passing fad either.
Exactly. It's a significant evolution. It aligns well with Agile speed, but it seriously challenges quality, maintainability, and security norms.
So the winners will be those who integrate it thoughtfully.
I believe so. Organizations that pragmatically use it, understand its value and its limits, mixing it with traditional rigor and human oversight, they'll gain advantages.
Speed and accessibility where appropriate.
Right. But those who dismiss it entirely risk falling behind, and those who embrace it uncritically, they risk drowning in technical debt or facing major security breaches.
So pragmatic, informed adoption, not blind acceptance or total rejection.
That seems to be the wisest path, as with most transformative technologies.
Which brings us back to the core message for you, the listener, especially if you're that aspiring data engineer.
Yes, this is crucial.
The future isn't about being a vibe coder who just prompts AI without understanding. It's about being a skilled engineer.
Combining human insight, critical thinking, architectural skill with AI assistance.
Augmenting human capability, not replacing it. Building better, safer, more maintainable systems.
That's where the real value lies.
I want to leave everyone with this powerful quote from a veteran Silicon Valley engineer. He said, "Every generation of programmers thinks the new tool will eliminate the need to understand computers. It never does. It just changes what you need to understand."
That's incredibly resonant right now.
In this age of vibe coding, that wisdom feels more relevant, maybe more urgent than ever. What stands out to you from today's deep dive?